Hello and welcome to TEPS Underground, where we go into detail about the last episode and we will tell you the behind the scenes experiences. We'll go through and explain what we felt, what wasn't captured on camera, and the little this and that's and some Q&A. So I hope everyone's ready and everyone's excited. I'm pretty sure I speak on behalf of everybody. We are. We'll go around the room real quick to introduce you to the team. As you know, I'm Victor.
Rodney.
Angela.
Misty.
Dave.
And so I guess with that said, we'll just dive right in. I think for a lot of us, the second episode was great. We had to get past the whole COVID thing, which we were able to successfully do. And really it was just a very good experience, especially when dealing with a family and a little kid. Definitely hit home to us. So we did get to utilize a lot of cool equipment that we didn't get to use on our first investigation, and so that was a lot of fun. We got uniforms, checklist, so we went through the house and kind of rolled out all the this and that's and everything in between. And then even some of our investigators, Dave, we introduced Dave, but he wasn't on the last one due to work. But he'll be on the next one.
Hopefully.
But the investigators, these three, did something uniquely different this go around. I guess you guys want to jump in. What did you guys do different this go around?
Well, same thing as Misty wanted to do was, it was kind of, for us, we already had some information about that investigation beforehand, so we couldn't fully dive into what we really wanted to do, and that was basically like another show. I don't want to name the show because we don't have authorization to do that, so.
Right.
There is another show. Copyright last time. So yeah, there's
Copyright infringement today.
yes. So I cannot mention the name more than people, but there is another show where an individual would go to the location without knowing any information on that residence and that land, etc. And we wanted to try to see if we could figure out things on our own. Try to figure out what we were feeling and come up with something. So that's what that was what we wanted to do.
Right.
Well, so.
Myself and Rodney, we have been able to, I guess, more or less tap into our sensitive side and be able to pick up on things. And we want to get more into that. We have done more research, and we are slowly but surely getting there. It's not something you can just do at the drop of a hat. It takes time to become that way. But it's a slow process. We're going to get there. Like Rodney said, we did have, me and him both had background information on the house, the family, the property. So it was kind of hard for us. Now, Misty, on the other hand,
I wanted to go in without any knowledge of anything that was going on. I know that there's people out there like myself that has that little bit of curiosity, but skeptic about what may or may not be happening. So I wanted to go in there like any other skeptic and say, show me something. I don't want to know what's going on. I want you to show me something. And let's just say it was a pretty good experience.
Definitely was.
Right. Now, David, are you going to take that same approach of not knowing the background, or are you just like to get all the 411 and jump in?
All I'll ever need is just the bare bones.
Right.
Just the bare bones. That's and I would rather go in like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was definitely interesting. I think it was quite fun to know kind of like the background of
Right.
everything, and then seeing these guys piece it together. and it was quite neat to see like kind of like the storyline behind it, and like knowing the background, and then trying to make sure, oh guys, don't say anything. She's in the same room.
It was hard.
It was hard.
really hard.
I would say so.
I was trying to tell Andrew, don't say nothing, don't say, I'm over there, please do not say nothing.
But
Yeah. I think, like, and it's going to be a little bit harder for me, I guess, to be able to go in blindly to these investigations, because I'm the one that's doing a lot of talking to the clients and know kind of what's going on ahead of time. So, but at the same time, I can still, I'm even going in knowing some of the things, I guess I can still try to broaden my sensitivity.
Work that muscle, right?
Right, and try to maybe pick up on things that they didn't tell me, just by being in the same vicinity, in the same home, or wherever we may go. Because it's not always going to be in somebody's home that we go investigate, because Lord knows we're trying to broaden that too, as far as getting these nice larger places that we can go in with nobody there.
Yeah, and definitely get a new experience out of it.
Yes.
And as she was cluing in, Angela does amazing work reaching out. There's a lot of people that actually hit us up directly, and we don't investigate, we don't go. And so she's able to actually kind of work with them and kind of help people on the side and get like their story and understanding, and kind of like vent through all the requests, because we do get a lot of traffic coming in. And so it's really good Angela is able to talk to them, get a feel for what's going on, and then at that point make the determination whether or not, hey, we really need to get the team out to the location. And so that's how she gets it's a curse that she gets the inside scoop, but it's also great for all of us, because then but I guess back to this particular investigation. So I guess to start, each of you all did have your own unique feelings and thoughts and ideas that were preemptive. Now with Misty, you had the least information out of everybody.
Yes.
And I think it was kind of cool, because these guys had some information, and this is stuff that the audience didn't get to know about, because again, we're trying to like figure things out and try to grow and understand what these feelings are, right? And then on the flip side of that, we're also doing the background checks, we're doing the actual data. But it's neat when you know the back of the story, like the background story, and you can say, oh wow, that's so funny, you felt this, but then I heard these guys say this. So do you mind just kind of sharing some of the feelings that you had, like some of the stuff you thought about the location?
Yeah, when I first got there, I just wanted to kind of look and get a feel for the outside area, because I know in history there's always some kind of thing that goes on around the land, and it's not necessarily the house, but the land itself that might have some problems. So when I went outside, I had this drawing to downhill. The way this setup was, there was a set of bushes like downhill, and it was just looked like a perfect hiding hole for something going on. And I just felt that maybe something happened down there, but I couldn't say what that might have been. I just got a feeling, and I could never, decipher exactly what that feeling was. So I walked down there a little ways, but, I didn't want to linger too long on that. Well, then coming back up the hill, I looked at the house, and underneath, like, I don't know, the underpinning or something, I felt like something was watching me. And I was looking at windows going, is there somebody looking out the window? But I felt that something underneath that house might have happened, that something was not right about it. I had no idea, but it was feeling. And then when I went inside the house, the same thing occurred. Mostly it was oppressive heat, and just like, I don't know, like I was just suffocating. I had a hard time catching my breath, and I thought, well, it's hot, and so I'm trying to put all the outside, stuff going. This could be because it's hot. Maybe the air conditioning system's not working. But then I started feeling like my heart was just, heavy, and just giving me a hard time, trying to beat. And so it was kind of weird. I actually had to step outside to catch my breath because it was just overwhelming, and I had no idea. I just that's just the way it is now. Most of your houses.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty much the first experience that I had that I couldn't understand or explain, because it just continued with me for the period throughout the night. Different areas, I would feel heat, and sometimes just a little like somebody was watching, and I'm thinking, okay, we're in a house.
How much? Yeah.
Exactly. How much privacy you got? Somebody's watching. But it was unique in that because I had no idea.
So, and again, and also a slight reminder too, we don't want to bring up anything because this client wanted to remain anonymous.
Yes.
So, the names have changed to protect the innocent.
There you go.
Exactly.
But to that point, though, it's so funny because you felt heat, right?
Yes.
And then also to the point that you felt like something was underneath the house. Angela, you felt heat too. I
Yes.
distinctly remember you were like, "Hey, it's been hot," and you even like there was a point where we took pictures of the back of your neck.
Yes, I had a hot burning sensation on the back of my neck. I too, when me and Misty were in the house, that was when we were in there together. When we walked in to the master bedroom, the heaviness.
Yes.
It was unexplainably heavy, and like my chest was heavy, and it was only like that for me when we went in that bedroom, and I couldn't understand it. And it was shortly after that, when me and you got done walking through, that we both went outside because you said you were burning up.
Yes.
And
it was very oppressive.
And it was, I don't understand it. I couldn't understand it then.
It still boggles my mind now.
Right.
Right, and it wasn't after that instance, like, it wasn't until the burning on the back of my neck wasn't until we were, almost 3/4 of the way done with the investigation. And then I was like, why is the back of my neck burning?
Yeah. No, and to that too, on their part, we had some very unique equipment opportunities. So, if you all could imagine, we were there for goodness, hours.
Yes.
Hours. And we go in, we take shifts and stuff, and for whatever reason, and again, can't replicate this. This goes back into the, hey, this is weird, but I chopped it up as mechanical failure. When we were actually documenting their entry through the house and all their stuff, the only stuff I was able to piece together was from the other equipment that picked them up. And because the actual camcorder that we used to document it, for some reason, that footage, that card went corrupt. And I tried everything underneath the sun to repair it. So that's why we got the experiences. And then also another side note too, some of the stuff that we do talk about, you all probably won't see it, because if we were to create like a video that was literally start to finish, it would be so long. So that's why we chop down all the highlights and kind of like give the good, like a nice good flow. So far we're staying at like around 40 to 45 minutes an episode. Now on the opposite end of the heat, me and Rodney actually got cold, so I didn't know if it was a thing. You had some very unique cold experiences in the kitchen.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about this because I don't know if we talked about it before, because right now, as I'm thinking, is the first time I heard about the experiences with these two, with the heat thing. I was freezing. I was cold. I was cold, and and I guess spirits affect people, differently, individually, or whatnot. So I was cold. I said it multiple times to everybody. I said, I don't know why.
Yeah.
For some reason, the hair was standing up a little bit, and I was cold.
Yeah.
Now there was different cold spots, like when we were in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because it's over the sink or whatnot, but I didn't feel that same coldness anywhere else. And then within a couple minutes, that coldness above the sink was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved my hand around, just testing the different
Yeah.
temperatures, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It was cold over here above the sink, and it was a little bit warmer over there. And she felt it too, and then
Yeah.
she felt the change in it
Yeah,
too.
and the P2K, I still don't know what that's called.
Oh, that K2
K2
meter.
K2 meter.
Yeah.
When he was having that cold experience, I would put the K2 meter right there, and it was like just going crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel it when my hand was up holding against the sink area, that it was just a cold over my hand, and only then did I feel it. And of course I thought, that's coming from the vent, but it wasn't, because I could feel the vent over here. And this was like right here in the center of my hand where I was holding that meter, and it was strange.
When I tell you all, freezing, it was the strangest experience for me personally. Like, the way I could describe it is if you are working out in the gym and you are really like hitting it hard, you're sweating, and then it's the dead of winter and a snowstorm outside, and you immediately just go, okay, I'm going to step outside. And it was just like, it was just like instant body drop. And I thought, like, to the equipment factor, I thought was interesting because I was in the room, and we're looking, and we got the SLS going, and there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden, just like coincidence, right? Because that's what we do in this field, is like we put equipment into a situation where people experience X, Y, and Z, and what are the odds, right? And it goes to that point where you can't that's what we want to get to, a point to where we can't explain something, or we can't disprove something as this, right? And it was just like I immediately just felt this cold sensation, and they're like, it's back.
Right, yeah, and the stick figure meters.
Right?
Yeah. Well, when me and you were in the room, and I had the SLS camera on you and the child's bed, like right after you said, "Man, I just got the coldest chill," that the figure
Boom.
popped up right after that. It was almost instantaneously. It popped up. I was like, "Bro,
Yeah.
it just popped up right after you made that statement." So.
And
That was awesome.
And also too, to kind of like give everybody the understanding, we go through. So while they were walking through the house, kind of gathering their feelings and testing out that scenario and writing like their thoughts down, I was going through and checking stuff. We were checking like any points where like, hey, this is spiking on the electromagnetic reader. Hey, it's really hot in this room, or hey, it's really cold in this room. We went through and just checked everything. Checked for radiation, checked for gas, checked the whole 9 yards, just to make sure that when we're all going in and investigating, people aren't chasing what we can explain. Hey, all of us could walk to this exact spot and see something, or get something on these readers.
Right.
I actually thought it was quite cool because there was a point where Rodney and Misty were investigating, and I subbed out for the camera person, and we were going through in the room, and across from the little girl's room was the little boy's room, and on the electrical magnetic reader is what I went in there to kind of get my initial readings, and Misty had the K2 meter. And so at first I was like, oh, it's probably because of this, because the whole room that's where the fuse panel was, whole 9 yards.
Right.
But then it
went
wasn't.
nuts,
It went
okay?
nuts in
It
certain
was like-
spots.
Yeah, I was going like toward the closet, and and of course, at first when I was coming to the room, there was nothing, okay. And then I go to the closet, and like every horror movie just popped in my head about that time.
Yeah.
And that ticket meter went off, and I just jumped back and go, okay, then let's see what this is about. And I followed around. I went further, and it would fade out, and so then I would move in this direction. It was like almost as if whatever was causing it was just like watching or following. And then I moved further away from the closet because they had mentioned that with the closet and everything. And well, my little boy's
Still
bed,
alive, right?
he had these little Pokemon cards, and that meter went off, right? And it was like on the ground. It was ground level. It wasn't up here where anything was. This was on ground level. And that thing was just going crazy, and then Rodney was asking questions, and it's better for him to explain that because
So-
I just watched the meter.
So I tested out a theory that I've always seen, other investigators use while investigating their locations is, we can't always hear voices. It's not until you go back on the recorder that you start hearing certain things or things replying back to you. So using a K2 meter, I was asking whatever we believe was there with us, whether it was male, female, child, adult, or whatnot. I used a K2 meter to ask yes or no questions. So, of course, it was responding back. And I said, okay, are you a little boy? And I don't remember if it responded to the boy or the little girl or
It
whatnot.
freaked out on the girl part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. It basically lit up almost halfway, didn't it? So it was pronounced. It wasn't something that was just okay. Maybe no, there was no
It was
doubt.
definitely something responding.
And this is the thing too, real quick. When you were pointing the K2 meter at the closet, that's when that thing really lit up. And now Victor wanted to debunk it, so Misty actually moved that K2 meter behind the door along to where the circuit boards and everything was, and it was not reading
Would
at
not
all.
move an inch.
And to
Yeah.
that point too of us like testing stuff, she went back to that same spot and then it wasn't doing anything. And that's the strangest thing. Like when we're trying to
Exactly.
figure stuff out, we're like,
Well,
is there something here, and
Yeah.
is it manipulating this equipment that we're bringing into the location?
Right. The K2 meter, I carried that around with me for half the night. And what I thought was weird is, okay, so the K2 meter and the EMF detector, they both register in milligauss, and they both register this. They're supposed to register the same thing, the electromagnetic fields. Okay, so going in, we had documentation from you on everything that you tested with that meter, with the EMF, and what gauged high, what did not. So we already had knowledge of anything that was registering on a high EMF spike. So throughout the night when I was carrying around the K2 meter, I was testing it against everything electronic, everything that you had tested and popped a high EMF reading prior to the investigation. Not one time did that K2 meter ever go off.
Yeah, it was hard for it to get no responses
So-
from EMF at all.
Yeah.
And then two, our camera person had the EMF detector in her pocket. And never once did it go off, even after. Other than one time. That was, in fact, wasn't that when we were in the bedroom right before we ended the investigation? When
It beeped, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a singular beep.
Right
and
when
then-
Victor was checking the attic.
yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right before he went to check
We'll
the
get to that in a
attic.
second, team.
That was
That was
Yeah.
something else.
there was two. Okay.
I don't know. I don't understand the attic. It had my attention from
Yeah.
the minute we walked in the room.
Same here. Like when we were going through with the client to kind of get the run of the land and kind of get their story behind their experiences from each room to room. I just like, for me, that just like, I don't know. Our attic's creepy, yeah, but I was like, well, what's the odds of like the attic, being in the little girl's room? Hey, is it cool if we just pop up there and look? And I swear it took a lot of effort to get into that attic. Not because it was just awkward to get up there. It literally took a lot of effort.
Especially
Yeah.
carrying the camera, which me and Misty seen it on camera as it
That freaked
happened.
everybody
Yeah.
out.
As it
Yeah,
happened.
it was amazing. We were watching the camera while they were doing the investigation, and it was just, and you could see something, like two things just moving, and it was not anything that I could explain.
The battery.
Yeah, the battery pack.
Yeah,
very
that was crazy.
secure
That was crazy. I seen it when it
On
happened.
the bottom of the SLS camera.
And take her word for this. They created this little doohickey, and so
love it.
That battery pack is like on industrial strength, not like the cheap like, hey, there's a couple pieces of Velcro. I'm talking like super thick Velcro.
Yes.
It's walked around the entire time, and so when I was getting up there, I started lifting it up, and then I noticed that it started coming loose, and I tried to catch it before it fell, and it just launched down. And back to personal feelings, like I just felt like almost like pressed down. Like I felt like every time I tried to like get up there, it was just like I just felt like getting pushed back down. Like I couldn't get up in that attic. And I'm pretty fit. It wasn't like I wasn't able to get up there.
Then too, the battery pack is what actually powers the SLS camera. It's a portable battery pack. When it got launched off and me and Victor were trying to reset it back up to record, the program on the tablet, for some reason, we could pull it up, but it would not allow us to hit record.
Oh yeah, the whole thing was.
It was insane. We had to shut the program down and relaunch it 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
just to get it to start recording so we could continue our investigation of the attic.
So everyone's probably thinking at home like, okay, well you unplugged it, this, that, or the other. So again, this goes back into the backstory even further. When we first popped open the attic door, we have standard like handheld cameras, and I started recording on the camera, and I lifted my hand up, and just lifting my hand up, which can't replicate, like I've tried, the camera would just shut off. Fully charged battery, would bring it back down. I would have to literally close the viewfinder and reopen it again, the little LCD, and turn it on, stick my hand back up there again, it would die. Third or fourth attempt in, I actually lifted the camera up, and the whole device froze, and it was just like frozen. Like I had to pull the battery to shut the camera off. Again, this goes back into, we bring equipment to a location that's fully functional everywhere else, but people coincidentally experience stuff at a location, and our equipment, for whatever reason, stops working. So, strange.
Yes, definitely.
And the one tiniest piece of equipment that we have was technically, I feel like, the one that seemed the most response, and that was the little light up bulb.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
stationary until it got thrown across the
Our
room.
new little light up ball.
It's
Yeah.
actually
Push the button.
it's actually this ball, which is what you seen get thrown.
Yeah. So that was.
Love it.
Thank
I
God
like
we
the
had like.
sparkly.
Yeah, it's so pretty. Well,
It is.
we had in the little girl's room. That was kind of like when we got the story. We were like, okay, we want to make sure we cover that room like no tomorrow. So we set up. We had a DVR. We had their kick butt laptop that picks up everything. We had that stationary, looking in this direction. Again, we've experimented with a lot of new equipment. So we had a pod that had a mini DVR built into it. So it had a camera. So we had multiple angles going on.
and
so,
then the thermal.
Oh, and the thermal camera going off the
So
whole
4
time.
cameras in one room.
We rocked that room. That room was lit up.
You
Yeah.
said, before that ball was thrown, you said there was a little bit of discoloration or something that was picked up on that thermal camera before it was tossed. And my first response to that ball being thrown was not even to be scared or to run. I was like, oh my God, I hope we caught that on camera.
Yeah.
I'm not even scared.
That's what you're shooting for.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Did someone get that on camera?
She knows it.
I mean, that's what you want, no matter what.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Did we get that?
And the crazy thing about it is, this is a kicker to it though. And I'm the same way. I'm like some people sitting at home right now. They're like, oh my God, there had to be air conditioner or something to
Something
spray tie to it. This is a kicker though. This is what this is how I'm gonna disprove that we had anything to do with that ball being tossed by one of our investigators, team members, or whatever. If that was the case, if it was tied to a string or something, that ball would be being pulled towards our bodies.
Not away.
That
towards
was in the
wall.
opposite direction against the wall. So there's no way that we could have tied it to a string. I mean, we would have had to put nails or something on the wall to pull it and make it go that direction. It's crazy, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, I can testify to that too because
She was in the room.
well, I was actually in the room, but me and Angela went in there earlier, and my clumsy self. Actually, that ball was sitting up there, and of course, I knocked that ball. I hit it, and then it rolled under the bed.
Yeah.
And I knew I was sitting behind him, and I could see the bed, and I saw. And all I know is that thing just went across there, and nobody. Victor was here, and Rodney was right here, so I knew none of them was near it. The ball was over here.
Right, and it didn't even roll.
It was thrown. And if you watch the video, you can see it.
Yeah, and if you were actually there in that room at the time, you could actually hear the force that was put in that ball being thrown. It was thrown pretty good.
It was loud.
Yeah.
The best way I could describe it too is like to kind of add more towards us utilizing our other equipment to kind of key into that location. The reason I picked up the thermal camera, it's a makeshift thermal camera. We got the legit one now, but I have
this one,
which is that one. Yeah, we had we got a little square like thermal reader, and then behind it we have a GoPro, and the GoPro fully charged died. But the what we noticed is whatever was going on at the foot of the bed, like the SLS kept picking up something there.
Yes.
And we also noticed that like whenever I would get near it with the thermal, you could see like a discolorization. You could see the like fluctuations in temperature, but whatever it was didn't really like it. It was the feeling I got. Like every time I would like start picking up that thermal, and I would start like walking towards it, just weird junk was just happening. So it was just like,
yeah.
That's why when they were talking about like, is there something going on over there, I picked it up and I was like, well, let's see if we can see anything. And I was able to see like you could kind of see like, okay, wow, the temperature's changing, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, and real quick, because like 90% of our investigation stuff visually was in the little child's room, and it was weird because at one point when I had the SLS camera, remember when you said it was like this figure that we were catching on the SLS camera was playing games with you, because when you looked that way, it was behind you. When you looked this way, it jumped on the other side of you, and then right after that, it's like it climbed up the wall, and then you go later that night, and for some reason there's two figures up there, and it's almost like that.
In the attic.
It's like it's their safe spot is in the attic, whatever it is. Yeah. So
yeah.
And again, to go to the SLS, and I'm sure you two can explain it better. But this thing, it's legit. It's for Xbox, so we're actually going to be upgrading to the Xbox One here shortly. But the Xbox Connect, we've tested it here. You walk in front of it, it wireframes you.
Yeah.
And that's the thought process is we could have this thing sitting stationary or we could be going around somewhere. Something has to hit, and it's a piece of technology, and it has to hit certain points of the body to recognize, hey, there's a human there, and the computer technology wireframes. And that's what we're using here. We're going through and we're like, how on earth what is it picking up? And it's a tool to ask questions, right?
Yeah. Well, I was intrigued one day, because you had started talking about forming this, this group of us people here that are involved in this, within the investigations and stuff. And so I started opening my mind up to other technologies that I've never used before, because I've never really been on ghost hunting. I've been intrigued by, spirits and the paranormal since I was a little kid, because I've had experiences. Visually, I've never seen anything. Okay, so I can't tell you, hey, I've seen this, because I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you 110% what I'm saying is going to be the complete, honest truth. I take it seriously when we do these things. And so I started investigating different things like spirit boxes, SB7 spirit boxes, different types of cameras, thermal cameras. And I came up on this. I didn't know how expensive it was going to be to build, but I was set out on building this awesome piece of equipment. Now, I've had other people in other paranormal groups saying, oh, it's faulty, it could be triggered by this and this and that. Now, me personally, with Angela, we built this machine which cost us nearly $300 to build, the most expensive part being the tablet. So we built this thing, and we did our own test, which we can do it again. That way we can share it with the E-Town Paranormal Society's Facebook group, as well as YouTube. I tried pointing this thing at pictures of people and photos, like actual wall paintings. It will not pick up. I tried to pick up animals with it. Did not pick up. I tried to pick up people in the opposite room adjacent to us. It will not pick up. So that theory.
Do you guys also do reflect?
Yes.
Not even in the mirror. Not even
in mirrors. No. Not even in like windows. Nothing. It will not pick up a reflection. And we did that test one night in our house because I was holding the camera, and I have a body mirror in my room.
Hate mirrors, by the way.
And I didn't tell Rodney, of course, because he's afraid of mirrors. But I caught a stick figure in the mirror, and I didn't want to say anything to him. And then when I did, we decided to test that theory out about the reflections. And yeah, that was a no-go because it did not pick up our reflections.
Yeah.
And side note to that equipment, so they come over every so often. And
I'd like to come over more, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They
know how that is.
I love this group. I love everybody here, and I just want to put it out there that I want to thank Megan and Victor for helping us make our dreams come true and ask to be paranormal investigators. Not just to do it in Megan. Oh, yeah, Jesus. At least I didn't cuss, all right? Give me a break, all right?
He's getting better.
It's very hard. Very hard, I promise.
I'll suck at that.
Yeah.
I just met him, so I can't call out his, But anyway.
I know he was just saying, like, thank God it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Rodney.
I'm off.
Like the last one.
I'll be better off not talking.
So, yeah.
We just want to keep it family friendly as much as possible.
It's very hard for me.
Because, we don't have to have people sign waivers, before you watch this video, Rodney will be speaking.
Just get the
so
bleep thing.
Exactly. I know, right?
It would be bleep, 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 bleep.
What was your guys' favorite experience? So that's what because I think that everybody has like their own experience, and My experience was awesome with this ball being thrown.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty much.
God.
I think that would be the majority on the vote because it was,
The
you know, and
ball.
most everything else was extraordinary. Okay, but that ball was extraordinary.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was.
I being a skeptic coming in there when I saw that I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
There's no way that could have been done. I was like, okay, so maybe there's something here. But, you know, I'm always going to look at something where, you know, there's a possibility. I look for a wind or anything.
Well,
And,
that's what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
and,
You
and
should
That would be
prove
some
that there's a
strong
logical explanation, and like Victor said, the more you weed out, eventually you're going to come up with a reason that can't be explained.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
We'll
and
have
that's
to
the
do-
best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do the magician thing. Okay, see, no strings over here,
Yeah.
no strings over here.
Nothing up my sleeves.
Nothing, no.
And on a side note, when that ball was thrown, I still did not cuss.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I did, yeah, you're right.
I would have.
I did.
I would have. I'd have been like,
Okay, because I'm hoping,
Oh, bleep.
I'm hoping
It would've
as we
been
sit
like
here
a-
that I actually catch it going off without touching it.
that would have been like a 5-minute. Just,
Yeah.
Mother, Mom.
Everywhere in the
We'll
book.
have to cut
Yeah.
half of that.
The thing with the SLS, so they actually came here and we went through our house and just to kind of roll it out, and we did that at our old house too. Does it pick up anything? And there was nothing here. Like we've lived here for 6 months, 5 months. I haven't had any weird experiences, and so I was like, oh, so anytime we get there, like the equipment, we test it. We have a place to where it's like, hey, how come? So when we do these investigations, we're like, hey, I've used this here. I know there's nothing here. I haven't
right.
experienced anything.
That's
Baseline.
giving you a baseline.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a baseline to work from.
And that's where you get people, you know, people that are skeptics or people who want to believe, but they want that concrete evidence. We went through this whole house, and not once did we see one stick figure. So, for me personally, and this just comes from me, that if it was a piece of software that was built, that was faulty, that had defects, then see, look, it keeps going off. I'm telling you, it keeps going off. That's why I moved it over there. I'm dead serious. That's why I moved it over there, because it kept going off over here. So nobody's touching that. I'm just saying that.
House ain't haunted.
Am I scared? No. We'll
Batteries
just say
are probably
it's just faulty.
Yeah.
It happens.
But it didn't move though.
Yeah,
Exactly.
as long as it don't get thrown or something, we're good.
And I have to say, when it went across the room, it didn't light up. I mean, I did not see it light up. It just went boom. I just saw this ball go.
It was
There was
quick.
no light.
It
was
did
so
light
quick.
up,
Did it? 'Cause I
but
didn't
not
see,
until after it hit the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
exactly. I didn't see nothing. It just went boom, and all of a sudden it was, and I was like, okay.
Oh, and,
Yeah.
and if I can add something to this, folks at home, like you can see this stuff on TV, and I've seen stuff on TV, and like I've seen stuff. There's a huge difference from being dropped into like a location and starting to experience stuff, and seeing it on TV. It's neat because I think all your senses kick in.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
watching the show, you're just seeing the visual and like,
Yeah.
oh, neat. For us, it was just
Exactly.
like, ah.
That's right.
Well,
And
then-
that's true. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to go in as a skeptic, because they will tell you, oh, you know, that could have been done. They could have edited that could have added that. And because I'm one of them, I'm sitting there too. When I watch those shows, I'm just like, they could have edited that. Somebody threw that across the room. I mean, so it's always, you know, in this, it's also going to be about belief. You know, you're going to have to believe in something, and you know, maybe something good, maybe something not, but it's very intriguing as to what we come into. And another thing I wanted to add real quick, and that's where I was going to go. Another reason why I did not want to know is because there has been proof of group hypnosis. Okay,
Yes.
There has
not
been.
technically, not with the little pendulum and the little noise maker, but people say like, "Oh wow, did you see that?" And then everybody's like, "Oh yeah, maybe," you know. I don't want any of that because
Yeah.
because that means your mind is going with what everybody else is doing or
You already
saying.
have preconceptions.
Exactly.
When they say,
Right.
saw a shadow over here. So guess what? You're going to be looking over there for a shadow. Now you might see a shadow and you might not see nothing, but you just wasted your time because you already have this preconceived notion that there's a shadow. They keep seeing a shadow in this corner.
And
Yeah,
the dark
they
can
keep
play
hearing,
tricks on
you know, and once you get that preconceived notion in your head, you're just like,
It
did
has
you
to
see a
be.
shadow? Did you see a shadow? You know,
Yeah.
and you know, it's just kind of a time waster.
Yeah. Well, no, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And like, if somebody comes in with the story of like, oh yeah, a man hung himself right here, and it's in this exact spot where they found the body. And it's like everybody's like, oh, and you're already jazzed up about being at a
Yeah.
new location, an investigation. And you're hyped up, and you're wanting like, oh, what am I gonna feel? What am I gonna see? And if you everybody knows, hey, this is what we're looking for.
Exactly.
You're gonna find something. In
Exactly, and it may not
Yeah.
necessarily be the thing you're looking for. Because if you already think you're seeing it, and you're already ready for it, then you're going to look at it. Oh yeah, I saw it. I see it now. I see it now. No, I want to know from my own experience without the excess baggage.
Because your thoughts are already compromised by knowing, you know, information before you even step into the location.
Exactly.
And even in the dark can play tricks on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know, I can see a million shadows
Oh,
at
yeah.
nighttime. Okay, because you're, of course, you know, I'm just saying this for me because your eyes are refocusing because it's a little bit darker in there, and then I'm not saying that's causing shadow figures. But for me personally, I believe in the dark, your eyes can play tricks on you to believe something, even especially when you already know that somebody's saying, "Hey, I've seen this and seen that." Your mind,
wants to piece it together.
and for some part for me, I'm wanting to believe that it's there, and so it's hard to explain. But
It's
your mind
strange.
already believes it's there. You just want to see it, and because you already believe it that it's already there, it's a
That's
possibility.
exactly.
That's why I want to catch it on
exactly
film.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I want to catch it on film because unless I catch it on, because I'm a skeptic to a certain degree too.
Mhm.
I do not believe everything that I hear or even see. In order for me to be 110%, you know, a believer of the paranormal or something, I've got to be in the middle of it, like in the kitchen. When I first stood in the kitchen, I don't know if any of you guys were poked or anything, but I was poked in the leg by a single finger, it felt like, and I got dizzy seconds later, two different times, like seconds apart from each other, and I felt like I was going to pass out. And it was crazy because once that happened, I started getting weird, all kinds of different thoughts. And one of my favorite experience was not the ball, although that was awesome as heck. But my favorite experience was right after I got poked in the leg. Doing the sensitive part was, for some reason in the kitchen, the cow picture was drawing my attention. I'm like, man, I don't know what it is about that cow, but I see pictures flying off the wall. And then, without even talking to the clients about it, the husband actually, he relived that moment without me saying anything. He brought it up and says, yeah, you know, the picture's been flying off. And I was like, what picture? He's like, the cow one.
Cow.
And I'm like, oh, and I had to pull out that book and show him, look,
See?
before he even told me, I had it written down.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's great.
Yeah.
That's you know, when it comes together like that, then you're just like,
Click.
And
Wow.
multiple spirits in the kitchen. I had that written down. Multiple spirits in the kitchen. They kept pointing.
They
towards the
they all
kitchen.
had books.
It's crazy.
I think you left your book at home.
I did, but it was funny. Talking about that, we had some that went through the investigation prior, and I wanted to mention that after I had already felt that something had been under the house,
Mm-hmm.
I was then later told after all the investigation was over that actually they had problems with their electricity
There
and
was a
stuff.
thing. Angela, what was the story?
exterminator.
The
Yeah, the
exterminator.
exterminator
Mhm.
came and went to crawl under the house to do an inspection, and when he went, he opened the crawl space under the house, and he crawled in, barely, and then crawled back out and left. And said something
Abruptly.
was freaking out and said there was something under their house and he couldn't help them.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So-
I had found this out afterwards.
After the fact. And this
Wow,
goes to like
I know
building
first
up
I'm hearing about that too, and that would go to your feelings,
Yeah, it was.
what you were telling me earlier that night. All of us actually did.
Exactly.
I would love to hear about that
And
again,
you know-
because it was crazy.
It's
Yeah.
funny because like, so I knew the most about
Mhm.
the investigation, the place, what was going on, and everything. I was never told about the attic crawl space in the daughter's room. All I was even told was that the daughter was terrified of her room, basically. She wouldn't go in there, she wouldn't play in there, she wouldn't sleep in there. When we were doing our walkthrough, just to kind of get a feel of the house, and noting things down in our little notebooks, as soon as I crossed the threshold into that child's bedroom, like, it was like instantly my eyes were drawn upward. Something kept saying, look up. And when I did, there was the attic crawl space, and like I instantly got this feeling of like the daughter being watched from there. And what confirmed everything was when we actually finally got
Mhm.
the SLS camera up there. There was 2 figures up in the attic.
Which again, there's no rhyme or reason to the camera to be picking someone up there.
No,
And
there's
the camera
legitimately no human figures, human people up in the attic.
Exactly. 'Cause
At
when
all.
I first saw it, I didn't even know it was an attic. It looked too small for an attic. I was expecting like stairs coming down,
Right.
big open space. I thought it was like a vent. So I didn't even think a person could get up there. When I went in there, I said, I looked over at the attic and I found out it was the attic. I said, that vent looks kind of weird, but I didn't say nothing because it just, and I didn't even know it was an attic. I thought it was some kind of vent.
And it was when we got up there and like poked around. It's the whole house. It covered everything.
Yeah, the whole entire top of the house.
Mhm.
And I mean, when we went back to do the reveal to the client,
Oh yeah.
we took the thermal, our
Oh,
brand new
yeah.
thermal camera, and tested it. Everything was the same temperature, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing, absolutely nothing in any direction did that thermal pick up anything other than just a degree of heat a little bit higher than what they had in their, in the main house.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that time we took an actual ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No balancing on a stepping stool.
You have no idea how much difference an actual ladder made.
Exactly. Well, and to the point where when we first got up there and we started looking around, again, we're testing the theory that there's what's a ghost, right? We're testing the theory of, hey, is there something here, and is it interacting with us? And what I thought was so strange is when we first, like, I got up there and we saw the 2 things just kind of like chilling there. Again, this thing picks, like, if I'm on camera and I sit down, it realizes I'm sitting down. These things were just like, the camera was thinking like people were just chilling right up there. And as I'm starting to interact with nothing, which seems crazy, I started saying, we could see you. I can see you. She was saying, we could see you up there. They, for whatever reason, started moving to the opposite ends of each other.
Yeah, they split
They
ways.
split. Why? I cannot explain it.
We saw that on the, when we was watching, when they were doing it, we saw that on the actual TV, little TVs we were watching, we saw the,
Yep.
Yeah,
do that,
when
and
we
I
were
was
doing
like,
the thing, it's like,
did you see that?
One thing I didn't want to do this time was to upset whatever it was, because, you know, thinking there was a little child that was involved. For me, I'm not worried
Exactly.
about my safety, but I gotta be, you know, I gotta worry about the safety of other team members.
and trust me, we're not worried about his safety either. I
Oh,
love
no.
it when he yells at the.
And you guys said you guys would designate me to upset whatever we need to upset. So yeah, I definitely didn't want to do it because there was a child involved, and definitely one of our main goals was to try to figure out what it was
Good,
and try
bad,
to
or
get it to
different.
stop because the child was afraid and did not want to play in her own room with her toys and stuff. So that was definitely a goal.
Oh, and he
Yeah.
did great too, because to that point they're saying that we don't want to go there and stir something up even more,
Right.
and then it gets angry.
You don't want to antagonize something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And going in, when we did our basic walkthrough to kind of pick up on things, and, I did not feel any kind of negative or demonic presence whatsoever.
Except in the house, it felt
Now-
negative there.
I didn't see. I wasn't outside. I walked around a little bit outside, but I didn't really examine the outside like you did.
Yeah, I didn't get too either.
But, generally speaking, children are more susceptible to seeing, hearing, and experiencing things that others would not. They're more vulnerable. And I feel like maybe we don't know, we're still trying to tap into and figure out the paranormal, the spirit, the spiritual side of things, and we don't fully know how spirits are portrayed. Okay, they could be portrayed as normal everyday people, or they could also be portrayed as the spirit form of themselves as when they died. We don't know how they are visibly seen at all times. And I could understand the child being upset if maybe that child is seeing these spirits as they were when they passed on, injured in some form. You know what I mean? That could be very scary to a child.
No joke.
I'd
be scary to me.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't know, my God. If I was a little kid and some ghost kid come out of my closet, that'd scare the crap out of me. But injured, I'd just be like, what?
Well, see, I go back
Yeah.
to like when I was 7. I actually visibly seen a spirit face to face standing in front of me, and it was the spirit of a little old lady, and there was nothing wrong with her other than she was there but see through,
Right.
So there was nothing like physically harm-wise done to her or anything. But I mean, it did kind of freak me out a little bit. I was 7.
Oh,
The
yeah.
eyes of a child.
When
Right.
kids are much more open
Right.
to that. I mean, their minds are much more open, and they are much more apt to believe what they see. So they see things sometimes that other people, on a higher level, we've already closed our mind to it.
Yeah.
But children see everything as possible,
Right.
believable, and so
Right. And
that would scare the crap out of me if I was 7 years old.
it kind of did.
Right.
And then the same spirit threw a flat basketball down the stairs at me and was turning the light on and off to try and get my attention. So, I've had paranormal experiences, like legit paranormal, unexplainable things happen to me throughout my life. And, you know, we don't know how this child is seeing these spirits. We have no idea. So
She don't even
then,
want to talk about it either. She won't tell the parents nothing
Right.
about what she's seen or hearing or
you know,
nothing.
and
So
it's just, you know, us trying to figure out, okay, what's legit going on here, you know. And we had experiences, so and not only that did we have experiences, but you know, the SLS camera kept picking up the figure at the end of the bed where the toys were,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is where the ball got
And,
slung
and
off.
mind you too, which is so weird, the camera picked up, it didn't pick up like an adult stick figure. Like,
No.
It looked like a
A
kid.
little kid. Yeah, because the other figure's like by the door, up underneath the actual crawl space up above. You had the big figure, and then right next to it was a half the size
Half
of
the
that.
size, and no explanation. The thing picked up a child. It looked like a kid.
Right, and then too, after the investigation, I have made 100% sure to keep in contact with our client. They had some prior messed up issues with a prior paranormal team.
Yeah.
With not keeping in contact, and I wanted her and her family to feel that we actually care. So I kept in contact. Even, you know, after the reveal, I've been in contact with her just to check and see how things have been going. You know, and she told me before we came out to do the reveal on you know, what evidence we had, she said that her daughter was playing in her room for the first time in forever, and she was having a full-blown conversation with someone, like she was arguing over toys, and came running out of her room after she screamed no.
And if anybody has multiple kids, you know what that equals.
Yeah.
So the fact that,
And she had the mark on her face.
right, evidence-wise, we caught with our SLS camera a childlike figure
In the room.
in the room, in the home, period, and the child was legit arguing, having a full-blown conversation and argument over toys with something, and come running out of the bedroom, and won't talk about it.
Well, no, and I think Angela touched on quite a few good points. One, who do you go to find out what's going on, right? You buy a house, you've invested all your money into this, and stuff's happening that you can't explain, right? You can't call, like, because again, it's such an awkward thing, right? Oh, believing ghost equals crazy. So it's hard to find a group of people, like, within your friends or your family, without having to feel like, oh goodness, like, awkward, right? And on to that point, what are you supposed to do as a parent? A parent naturally wants to help their child no matter what. And so I think that's where we came in, is it's more along the lines of getting answers, but also being like a support group. Having somebody to talk to and share your experiences
Don't
with.
think you're crazy.
That don't think you're crazy.
Exactly.
Right.
You gotta run, and I think that's where I like great work on, like, tag teaming back and reconnecting with the clients, and I think that's where the biggest part is just like, you can believe whatever you want, but I think if people are experiencing something and they have the opportunity to explain and have somebody just to listen, right? I mean, like, on our first investigation, I thought, like, half the stuff, I was like, oh God, like, what's Dwayne talking about? Like, this is too, like, out of there. But we listened and we believed him, and
I wanna
sure
go back.
enough, oh yes,
I wanna go back.
I want to go back to Dwayne's, but
We have more equipment now.
but that place was
Yeah, I haven't got to go there, so I want to.
That
go
would be
now.
awesome.
Yeah.
And whatever that thing is was very highly upset with me.
But again, though, two completely different locations, two completely different feelings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And for me at the last house, it was more. I wasn't scared. At Dwayne's house, I felt weird.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
I
was
felt
like
bad.
you could cut
Yeah.
it with a knife.
It was there was so much electricity in the air, and it was like interacting with our gizmos differently. But here, I
Batteries
felt
on
different.
batteries.
Yes, we burned through so many batteries. Here, I felt different though. I didn't
Yeah.
feel I didn't feel scared. I felt weird. I had like the weirdest cold chills.
And the things appeared.
And the things appeared.
Yeah.
But I think it's people seek confirmation, and that's what we do. We don't get rid of stuff. We don't promise that, but what we can do, right? We could roll out physical things that could cause people to get sick, or hey, no, it is wiring. We can listen to you. We can give. I think like being able to tell what you have going on to somebody that's not gonna like look at you weirdly, and somebody that's gonna believe you. I think that's like
You need to get off the drugs.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
high or something like that.
I'm gonna get you the number to my therapist.
right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to make an appointment. This guy's great.
Yeah, but it's being able to express yourself in a non-judgmental
Exactly.
environment, and
Exactly.
that's what we bring. So if we catch something, who knows, right? All we know is that we're bringing in very common equipment, and if something gets recorded and we're talking at nothing, there's something going on. Whether you believe it's a ghost, whether you believe whatever you believe, there's something different at a particular location with a different group of people that come from different all walks of life are experiencing very unique situations. We can confirm or try to help you figure out. Because imagine if we went to a location and we went there and they're experiencing X, Y, and Z, and then we're like, oh wow, you got a gas leak in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Carbon monoxide.
Carbon
in here is
monoxide
really
going
high.
off. The nuclear Geiger counter's freaking out. That can't be good.
Did you start the car up in your house? Who
Right.
knows?
So-
Microwaves leaking radiation.
Right?
Yeah, and I mean, the cool thing, you know why I wanted to get answers, to the paranormal, my true feelings on wanting to do this is being able to figure out the unknown. That's one of them. And second of all, because of having numerous, I was battling through certain situations in my life where my head was not right.
Mhm.
And although my mind was not right at the time, I was going through experiences and things. And anytime I try to explain them experiences to people, they're like, "Oh, it's because you're this and that." It made me feel like, you know what? So, being able to be clear-minded now, I want to be able to get them same experiences, not just for other people, but for myself, to prove to myself that I was not crazy, that people were just doubting me because they were non-believers.
Mhm.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Oh, and that's absolutely correct too. There's like, and I love like people who are skeptic, because it's great. Like you need to be skeptic towards everything you come into, but you need to be able to, our camera person. Yeah, well no, she's great. Like
We'll just call her Emma.
yeah.
Call her Emma.
Emma.
But no, I mean like sometimes though it's so interesting though, because people are so skeptic to the extreme to where it's like you can like actually catch something on camera and they will still 100% not believe that it's real.
I think that probably goes to the fear factor, though.
You can't accept it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think part of it is the fact that this is something you can't really control.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
You can't explain what's going on. So I mean, it's easier to say, no way, that's not going to happen. Because I know if something popped up in my face, I'm going to be screaming out the door. I'm going to be making a door through the freaking wall.
Right?
I don't
Because,
know.
but I don't really want to see something, because I'll probably die right there on the spot and just join it on the other side. I mean, because nobody, your mind does not want to grasp that fact that there's something there Because then it's like, well, you all get to go home, but I got to sit here with it.
Yeah.
So don't tell me.
Yeah.
Some people, it's like, don't tell me if there's anything there.
See, I'm the one that would be like, ooh, hey, come with me.
I
Talk
don't know.
to
Grab
me.
it!
I had an experience one time. Me and a few of my friends, because I've also been very interested in the paranormal since forever. And we had gone to this old cemetery. Okay. Now this was the weirdest thing ever, and I had me a little Sony camera.
Yeah.
Just your regular typical handheld camera with video. And we're going through this cemetery, and let me tell you what, all the tombstones on this cemetery was like 1800s. Everything was 1800s or 1700s. It was an old cemetery. And it's like a small plot of area, and there's like a few trees or, whatever. Well, I'm sitting there with my camera, and I'm looking, and of course it's dark. And all of a sudden I felt something go across my forehead. Now, let me tell you something. I thought it was a tree, because that's the first thing. Like when a little branch hangs down and it goes across there. So I back up because I think I'm going to get smacked in the face. And I snap a picture. And I kid you not, when I looked at the camera, because it has a little digital, where you can see after the picture you took, it looked like there was a woman. And looking at me from the side face, looking and pointing, like, get out.
Wow.
Because you could see the side of her face, her hair was long, and she was like this arm out here pointing, get out. And I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, you want to have an interview, because when I got scared, because that freaked me out. I was like, whoa. So I'm going to have to, act like, oh, yeah, come on, let's have an interview. But to go to the fear factor, it terrified me, because I was like, whoa, that was, strange. That thing actually touched me, and, so I was like, okay.
Well, no, and she's absolutely right. And to that point, too, on the flip side of that, if you are experiencing something at a house, right? You're at home and you experience something. I think like if you start giving whatever it is attention,
it gets stronger.
It gets stronger.
Yes.
It does more and
most
more
definitely.
and builds it up. Yeah.
If you acknowledge it will accept your acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And that's not always a
Good
thing.
thing, exactly.
Right?
That's what I was fixing to say. You don't always want that to be.
Yeah, that's not always a good thing.
So Dwayne just
Dwayne, how you doing, Dwayne?
Dwayne!
What up? We need to come back.
he said you all are welcome back anytime. And I think I heard an entity say, "Please bring back Rodney."
Now,
Look.
for the record,
I do want to say this before I forget, but I did start a GoFundMe account for E-Town Paranormal Society. The reason why is because, yes, we have a lot of bills and stuff, and it's hard sometimes. And some of these locations that are well known, they charge a lot of money to go and do this. And because we have families and we have a lot of bills, it's hard to go do these. And for most of us, these are like lifelong dreams to go to Bobby Mackey's #1. And if you want to see Rodney piss off his spirit, if you want to go to Bobby Mackey's and see Rodney piss off his spirit, we got a GoFundMe account. Please, even if it's $1, I don't
Is
care.
it still open? Is Bobby
Yeah,
Mackey-
yes.
They stopped
It is
doing investigations
$576
for a 12 up to 12
for
person
up to
team.
12
my
people
God.
to go
So,
stay
that's
overnight.
crazy.
If I pay that, I better see something.
right?
Somebody better be
It's the bird.
pulling some
Yes.
projection bullshit. If I'm gonna pay that, I better see several goals.
Bobby Mackey's had a really long history of being paranormal for a long time, but not just being paranormal, but being violently paranormal.
It had
And
a
they
lot of-
stopped investigations for a while because people were getting sick, people were getting hurt.
It had a lot of dark spots in it. A lot of dark spots at Bobby Mackey's.
I want to go over there, and honestly,
There was that one
I
time
wanna
it was
piss it
listed
off.
on the registry as like one of the #1 haunted places in
I
Kentucky.
do. I want to
It
piss it
So
off. I want
if
to
you
piss
want to
it, make
see
it mad.
if you want to see Rodney get thrown, GoFundMe page.
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Because, okay, and I have to explain this because Some people say they believe, and I'm not going to say the G word, I'm going to say people believe in a power greater than themselves.
Exactly.
All right, everybody has a fundamental belief in a power greater than themselves, whether it's your kids, whether it's the man upstairs, whether it's the man downstairs, or whatever it is, whether it's the judge presiding in your court case right now. We all have a higher power, okay? So sometimes we have multiple higher powers because they're tugging at each other from each direction or whatever. So my belief is, okay, when I got into this certain program and they said you have to have a fundamental belief in a power greater than yourself.
Right.
Either he has to either be, or he has to either be everything or he is nothing. So when I go into a situation like where, like Mr. Dwayne's house, which was awesome, by the way. I haven't said it a million times. Because I love pissing it off, I'm not going to lie. Or make it mad, sorry. I don't want to see the P word. I have to make it mad.
We already started.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's live.
That's what the computer texts for. He can go and edit it later.
Right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'll fix the
they've already
YouTube one.
heard you.
So going into Dwayne's house, our first investigation was great. Full turnout, honestly, on what we caught and whether it's visually, well, not really
Shocking.
visually, but,
See, what I want to
Yeah.
do is I want to go to some of these other places that are reported haunted, as
Yes.
that other places have investigated.
Yeah.
To see if they can
Because
do
I
the
want,
same thing.
but I want to see for myself, And Bob Mackey's was definitely one of those I wanted to check out. But
Investigated numerous times.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is. I wanted, because I'm like, like I said, I'm like one of those skeptics.
It goes back to the thing. You see it on TV,
And you're like,
you're
oh
like,
no,
well,
that's
there's
no
no
way.
way. And then you go there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to do
And
that.
I guess to tie into that, I understand like where we're coming from, right? So all of us, we do our own thing outside of here. So we're doing full-time jobs. We're trying to kids, family.
You're driving 3 hours.
Driving
I am one of the kids. I am one of the kids.
2.5, making ends meet, but
So it's hard
to
sometimes.
save
Yes.
the
Very
equipment
hard.
and everything to get this stuff adds up fast.
It does.
I'm pretty sure as a group collectively we have probably about, including the Hummer, over $10,000 wrapped up in this business.
I don't think you can count the Hummer.
The Hummer, everybody loves the Hummer.
Hey, the Hummer is.
Count the
I
Hummer.
just had a friend from work
The Hummer's all
2 days
presentation.
ago
You have to
saying,
have
"Hey,
presentation."
I just seen y'all's TEPS Hummer right up the road from Rose's," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah,
The
that's
Hummer gets attention.
oh, most definitely."
But yeah, going into the Bobby Mackey situation, the reason why I'm not afraid to make these things mad, okay? Look, I'm trying, guys.
You're doing all right. Go for it.
Yeah, the reason why I'm not scared is because I have more than a fundamental belief in my higher power up there, and I believe that no matter what, at all costs, he's going to protect me, because I believe undoubtedly that he's going to protect me. That's why I don't care what I do to upset this thing, and if they're that mad at me for saying what I got to say, then they can leave. Because I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not budging.
don't
I'm
share
sorry.
that power.
I believe in very much higher power.
But I don't suggest everybody to do that. So do not go do what I do.
Do not do this at home, folks.
Right.
So, something that
That's the king.
Oh.
Hi.
something
We did it at
that
the same time.
I have actually looked into today was the whole demonology degree.
Oh yes.
Okay, I am, as soon as I can afford to, I am going to start a course on becoming a licensed demonologist. I want to get into this. I want to be able to know everything there is to know about the unknown as far as demons and so on and so forth before
My first
we
cousin.
open up to any doors,
That's right.
because I want to know what we're getting into.
Right.
And I feel like if it's something that I can if it's something that I can study, not just to say, hey, I'm a licensed demonologist. You know, I want to learn this stuff.
Well, okay, you know, it's like this. I understand that too, but that is something I am not wanting to mess with.
100%.
Because I
Scary
mean,
stuff.
I've got, you know, I believe in higher power too. I know there's been so many things in my life that if that higher power was not there, I would not be here today.
Right.
But demons, I very strongly believe it, and that, you talk about your thing with mirrors, demons are mine. And I don't want nothing to do with those.
Yeah.
Because you can't control
Exactly.
a demon. And that's the other thing I worry about sometimes with all these investigations that we do. You know, when the time
Pathology?
comes that we may actually, I fear that we may actually encounter something that we are not yet prepared to deal with.
That is the whole reason why I did the research today, as far as trying to, I want to learn this stuff firsthand, and get whatever credentials, I guess you could say, as far as taking this course and dabbling in learning everything there is to know about demonic presences, how, everything there is to know before we jump into
something big. and
something
scary.
that we cannot understand and don't know anything about.
I'm skeptical on the whole degree thing. I'm sorry, I have to say this. Because just because you have a license doesn't mean you're a preacher. Just because you have a license doesn't mean you're a demonologist. I think it has to have, and I'm not saying don't do it. I hope you do it and you learn from it, but I'm skeptical on this whole thing. It's like me be part of that program, and then somebody who's not part of that program comes and tells me how I should do this, and I know how you're feeling, but you never actually been in that situation before, so you don't really know. I think it's
you're describing the paranormal version of street smarts and book smarts.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just because you have a license doesn't mean you can do it. I think for me personally, this is my own feelings. It's like I have a higher fundamental, more than a fundamental belief, and whether I have a license or not, I feel like my higher power is going to protect me no matter what. And I don't care if I have a license or not. It does not mean that I'm just going to step in there and say, you know what, you're going to get the heck out of here, and you're going to do what I got to do. You're going to do what I tell you to do, because my higher power is going to make sure I'm not hurt. No, I'm also weary about certain situations and what I put myself in the middle of. It doesn't mean I go into every situation like, oh, I'm going to tell it to leave. It depends on that feeling that I get when I step in that situation.
Exactly.
There's things I will not touch. I will not touch a Ouija board. I will not do any seances. I will not do any of that, because I know better.
You won't let me.
Because God's my higher power's going to say you should have known better. You should have never stepped in this situation. You're smarter than that, so I can't help you.
But
yes,
you see how they yin and yang right there?
Yeah.
You have to be careful with those things, because you open doors you can't
Most
close.
definitely.
You'll let things in that they will con you, they will trick you, they
Yes.
will
Like
deceive
knocking on the
you
door, say, come on in. No,
until
don't do that.
until they become so strong that you can't get rid of them.
Right.
So you
And
have to be careful.
see,
Yeah,
and
definitely,
and going back to this last investigation, even though going in and picking up on just the feel of everything, the house and everything, I did not get any negative vibe, any negative anything from the home or anything, but yet still, as I told the client in the beginning, before we ever made arrangements to go and investigate her home, I told her, if at the end of our investigation, that I would walk around her home, and I would sage her home, and I would say a prayer and a blessing over her home, for the comfort of her.
Right.
Because I told her, as with any investigation, especially if it's in someone's home, we come in there and we do our investigation, and and we're gonna stir everything up.
Even
Okay?
if we didn't mean to, because we're
will.
walking, because there's not. You're bringing people and like a whole bunch of new equipment and like all these gizmos, outsiders in, and you never know how something could react to it.
Right.
It could be like, oh, you want to bring somebody else in? Well, guess what?
And
Right.
see, that's and I got to thinking, after we did the investigation at Dwayne's, and that night on the way home, I looked at Rodney and I said, I really feel bad. And he said, why? And I said, because we went in Dwayne's home, we stirred everything up. He's already terrified and going through enough as it is on a daily by himself. And we went in there and we stirred everything up, and guess what? We got to go home.
Yeah.
He had to
Exactly
stay
right.
and deal with this, whatever it may be.
And apparently it has an ominous energy.
It caused him to move out.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
pretty
it
ominous.
was
Right?
that it was that bad, and I felt horrible. And so that's why when I talked to our last client, I told her, I said, I will come, after everything is said and done, I will sage your home and say a prayer. And then before we all left, we stood in a circle and we said a group prayer with the family,
And see, that's awesome.
and
Because, well, I mean, if you're going to investigate, I mean, you may not be able to solve a customer or a client's problem,
exactly.
but damn, you don't want to leave them feeling worse than they did before you got there.
Right.
At least stay in contact and try to offer them a little comfort.
Right, and
Exactly.
I told our client, I said, if after we come in and we get the gist of everything, and we pick up on things, and we do our investigation, and I told the family, I said, if for any reason we come in and due to personal experiences or evidence or whatever we come across, if we feel that it is something that we cannot take care of, we cannot as a group come to a conclusion on what we can do to help you, I will go above and beyond, and I will find someone who can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just gonna, we as a group are not going to leave you hanging.
Exactly.
We are going to take it a step further no matter what we have to do. Whether we have to call a priest in, I will take the necessary steps, and I will find somebody that can come in and do whatever they need to do to your home. Luckily it never has gotten to that point.
Hopefully it won't.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And to
Hopefully
see on
it will
that,
not ever get to that point.
exactly. I only felt the negativity, and I did say it felt negative to me, like something was watching in a creepy way. Okay, but it was outside the home. I mean, it wasn't inside the home. So this might have been the ground.
Something else.
The
Yeah,
house was
tied
down
to the land.
That was tied land, not the
Yeah.
house.
Could be.
Because when I went in, and I got this feeling after we started, getting more involved in the investigation and going through place to place, I got more of the feeling of a mischievous, spirit. Just kind of
Just
like,
wanting to play
I'm going to
games.
mess with you all for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to maybe talk to you,
When
and
you're
then maybe
dealing
not.
with
Like a kid.
children's spirits,
Especially
that's
children,
usually
like a kid.
It was
the
mischievous.
children's spirits will put
I
off
didn't feel
that
threatened.
energy because
I
they
just-
are mostly mischievous, and you'll get that a lot from young ghosts.
Now the taller spirit in there, do you think that the smaller figure that we caught on the camera, do you think the taller spirit that was there, or the figure that we caught, was the guardian of these other figures that we were catching? Like,
Well, that was like the strange thing. I think like it was like
Yeah.
we were trying to like, and again, we're just trying to we're talking at an empty room, and we're trying to communicate with nothingness,
yeah,
Exactly.
and then all of a sudden like something else on this equipment picks up, and it's like oh
Yeah.
Wow.
hi there.
Hi,
What about the responses on the recorders?
Oh,
you know,
yes,
and you start
yes.
listening to all this stuff that
So,
you're catching.
Exactly. Some few things I went over those when I watched the video myself, and I will say, y'all, that there was a few of those EVPs I did not, I didn't hear. I couldn't hear what you all heard. Now I'd like to hopefully next time I'll be able to investigate with you. Actually watch over the videos and stuff. But there was a few of those those voice things that I did not hear what was put there. And then see, that's the other difficult thing is when we put those, what it's supposed to be saying, what you all heard.
Yeah, I could play with your train of
Exactly. I want to close my eyes and listen to that without seeing what's being said. Because the closest I heard this creepy voice was when my daughter played her recorded phone message from way back.
Oh, yes.
That was the creepiest and the most clear. And of course, I know the EVPs, they're not always that clear. They're not going to be out there just saying exactly whole sentences.
Yeah.
And my question is, how can you talk anyway? Because you have no vocal cords.
Right?
Exactly. So how are you communicating with me right now?
Well, no, and with that said too, when it comes to like EVPs, it's a group. It's almost like, okay, this is kind of what I heard. What do you hear? And believe it or not, even like because everybody's ears are so different. So it's like for us,
exactly. That was
like. Listen, you're absolutely correct. Listening, it's picking up those cues. So imagine listening to 6 hours of audio, and then mind you, hours.
Exactly.
But
eventually,
I caught the Bose.
Yeah, you did catch the Bose.
I got the Bose.
But when you hear like you gotta like you guys like when you're hearing like when you're seeing the video, right? And you're seeing like boom, 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 like. Those were what we call I can't even talk. Abnormalities.
Abnormality.
Yeah, that word. Megan, say it.
Abnormalities.
There you go.
Abnormalities.
Yeah. Words. They escape us right now.
Abnormalities.
Something that starts with an A.
What's odd is when you're in the middle of a room and you're recording, right? And let's say you record the room, you'll catch the ambient sounds of the room. Creaks, what have you, right? But when you ask a question and then wait and then you hear something after that wasn't in the other like 4.5 hours of audio, it's like, okay, I clearly heard something here. And then and mind you folks too at home listening or watching the videos or whatnot, Headphones are very important. The noise canceling headphones might make the world of difference.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's definitely strange. But when we piece together, it's what you hear. And so even to that point, like closing your eyes, that's when we go back to like reveal. We hold the laptop towards us and we're like, here, put these on. Do you hear anything? Do you hear anything? What do you hear?
Exactly, because because if you see the words, then you're going to be hearing what you're seeing, rather than actually hearing your own, what might be.
Yeah. Now, another piece of equipment that these folks bring is the spirit box thing. So now,
I want a mini spirit box.
Yes, I am a fan of this thing now because it is epically cool.
That's the next Christmas list, okay?
Didn't get to utilize it a whole lot on this last investigation.
But what we did use it picked up amazing crap. And can you guys explain it, just like the functionality of this box?
Okay, so the SB7 Spirit Box, first I will say that this is widely used by multiple paranormal teams, as well as paranormal teams that are on TV.
National television.
Yeah, national television.
Oh, yeah.
And we wanted to try it out because we tried the paranormal app on our first investigation. That was an Android app, and we did catch some things. But getting the SB7 Spirit Box, we believed it would be more formal and it would be more professional to try to use this SB7 Spirit Box in hopes that we would catch something. So basically what this is, it runs off of different waves and you can run it in reverse or forward.
Yeah, radio, it runs off FM and AM radio frequencies.
Yes, and basically when you're running this thing in reverse, which is most people use it without using the antenna as well on AM, you run it in reverse, and by running it in reverse, it's like getting subliminal messages from a record that's being played backwards.
So
Like,
have-
did you
yeah.
hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, well, no, and it's neat too because it goes back to that scenario, like, where you're playing something, and again, this goes back to my fancy. So I'm not like I'm hypersensitive to stuff, so I'll go into a room and I can pick out things, or like I'm good at like, oh wait, that doesn't look right, or hey, or I'll see stuff on the corner of my eye type thing, but. I love the technology aspect of like this type of stuff because you bring like a whole bunch of different like equipment that hey, this is what people use, so it's almost like we're testing equipment that's commonly used in the field by paranormal experts, and we're getting XYZ in results, and it's neat because you may not get that result at home just sitting there playing with it. Like you're just like, oh, I'm listening to the radio in reverse, asking questions, you just hear gibberish. But it's what I found was neat. Like they brought in their because we brought in the karaoke machine.
Yeah, it's one of those.
And
Yeah,
that thing was loud.
Now,
Yeah.
side note, what you all don't know at home. So the karaoke machine. We plugged in the thing. We were doing our thing. That's where you heard like
15-inch speaker, by
it's
the
a
way.
15-inch speaker, and it's neat because the odds of this, we're asking it, are you a little boy? Are you a little girl? And all of a sudden you hear little girl. It's like there's no reason for that to even be a thing. That makes no sense. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
the spirit box is okay. So yes, it plays. It sweeps at so many hundreds of seconds
200 milliseconds or
Yeah,
something. It's
per
400.
sweep through radio stations, radio frequencies.
But doesn't that usually also include that it will capture anything else besides outside? I mean, like they can maybe. I've heard CB radios, somebody's TV, depending on the frequency of how far it goes.
Well, so with what I have researched as far as the SB7 or the newer model, which is called the SB11 Spirit Box. So the whole thing with the radio frequencies and sweeping through them fast, it creates white noise.
Exactly.
Okay, the shh, like okay. For instance, and I hate to reference the movie Poltergeist, but the white noise on the TV. Okay, that's what the whole reference is with the white noise in the radio stations. It is so known that spirits can manipulate white noise and communicate through it. So that's what the whole
the theory behind
theory is behind the SB7 or the SB11 Spirit Box. It's so it can sweep through radio frequencies at a high rate of speed, so you're not really catching the radio frequency or the radio, whatever's being played on the station. Not to mention it's being swept in reverse, so you're not going to hear full sentences or hear singing. You might hear
a syllable or something.
exactly, right? But it's in reverse.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I loved about them getting this over the phone. So the thing is like the phone app. I was a little skeptic at first because like okay, it's an app.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then this is legit, just like a radio. I mean, like I was like, okay, so this is pretty neat, and then the results are phenomenal. But side note, back to the inside scoop of things. When me and Rodney did it, we turned the knob on the radio box, the karaoke machine,
Yeah.
down low.
I
'Cause
did.
we were done.
You were in there with
And
me.
because we were done with that, we turned it down. We turned everything down, and then when they went back in, boom! It was like it got turned back up to the loudest setting.
Wow.
Now,
Yes.
side note,
Ear piercing.
this box. So we know that nobody's playing with us because we know everybody who's here, right?
Mhm.
And we knew who was all there, and we actually have equipment recording the whole time. So it's not like somebody ran in real quick and went, "Oh, we're going to play a prank." No. Again, it goes back to more weird experiences that we didn't catch on film, but we experienced it. And then so it was neat. Did you keep that thing loud? No, I turned it down.
Right.
I saw him.
I turned it down and I turned it off every time. And real quick before you say something, I would always turn it off every time I messed with it. I turned it off, but every time I went back to it, it was always on.
Yeah.
Every time.
And you have to flip a switch.
And you all can attest to this at home. You don't have that issue.
No, we don't. And that, in order to turn that thing on by flipping that switch, it takes a good amount of pressure to just, a normal little kid or something would not be able to just basically turn that on. They would have to put some like pressure behind it in order to turn
Some
it back
more
on or off.
weirdness.
And it's the volume knob is
It's
a crank knob.
Yeah.
So there's no like
Continuous spinning.
right.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
it was at 0 when we left, and then it got turned all the way to the loudest setting.
yes.
So
And
Yeah.
that was just insane. Because we were trying to keep the volume at a minimum at that point because we knew that our clients were trying to sleep.
yeah. For the record, if you invite us out, expect us if stuff's happening. We'll probably be there to 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, we're
most
trying to get as much
definitely.
as we possibly
I-
can.
Do we got a
Yeah.
question?
No, I was just gonna let you know we're about an hour and 40 minutes in.
Sweet.
Did you want to open up for questions? See if
Oh,
anybody has any
folks.
questions?
Yeah.
We're sitting here rambling on.
Exactly. Sorry, y'all.
All right, so does feel free to message us any questions.
How many viewers we got right now?
It's only showing 2, but I don't know how accurate that is. So
Yeah.
Hey, that
it
works
keeps
for me.
bouncing back and forth. So
If anything, we're an open book. It could be about the investigation. It could be about the individuals, our personal experiences. So feel free to message it in there. I don't know how Megan sees it, but she'll see it.
I'm watching all the comments. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll see them when they come in.
But no, I mean, like I said, I'm excited with this group. While you guys are typing your questions, feel free to stop me in between. I guess one of the big things is we're super thankful for the comments, the likes, the watching our videos and stuff. Followers. It means a lot, and even us point to the volunteers. Like we've had a tremendous amount of people hit us up saying, oh, I want to go ghost hunting with you, and we are so thankful for the volunteers. I did want to touch base on that. So we are eventually going to need help for the bigger places. We know that, but we right now, like for like the group we have, everybody knows everybody.
Family and
we're
close
family
friends.
and close friends. I've known this guy for about 15 years before we jumped into this. We're all related.
Just like everybody in Kentucky, they're all family.
Yeah. So
Except us, we're from California.
we're from
so.
California.
Hey, I'm from California too.
Small
Okay,
world.
Okay, 3 Californians.
Yes.
So, but with that said, like for our group, we handle things probably different than most. And it's neat that we even get told that too. Bless you.
Bless you.
Expelling
with,
demons, expelling demons.
right?
Hey, real quick. I had to say this real quick because I'm pretty sure, like you said, people probably laughed when that entity or that stick figure entered your body, and I said, "You're demonized, bro. You're demonized."
Yes.
Do
No.
we have a question?
We do.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome. Good.
From Dwayne. He wanted to know, did you feel the stick figures when they showed up?
I felt so for me, Dwayne. It was like I felt a weird freaking chill. So I felt something, and it happened right before they appeared on camera. So that was like unfreaking real.
I know we were in there, me and Rodney, I was of course filming. As soon as Victor would say, "Ooh, I felt a cold chill," the figure would pop up almost like immediately.
Yeah, within a split second it was appearing, and especially that one time, like I said, when you looked that way, it was behind you every time you turned around.
And side note again to that point, I don't like when they're talking about like working that paranormal muscle and stuff. I go into these with like my own technical mindset, but then I'm like oh okay, so now I know the story, I know what to look for, and it's just kind of like I'm not in there for the like the ghost side of things. So like whenever I experience something, I'm not like I don't have a background of like experiencing stuff. I've seen things. We've all had personal experiences, but I hope that answers your question, Jordan.
Yeah, me getting poked.
Yeah, he got poked. But I did want to say though. So right now we're what we do different. We actually everybody here signs like a release forms. We do everything as like legal and as possible, professional as possible. With COVID, that was another thing that we had to kind of work with the legal team and kind of find different ways to hurl past that, and we did. We take all the proper measures and we go through, and it's not like buying a car or signing a house, but it's pretty darn close. There's a lot of forms.
Yes, you must sign your life away.
Yes, but it's all in good faith because we want everybody to feel safe legally. Like if you're having somebody come to your house, and something happens, heaven forbid, but if Rodney gets picked up by a spirit and tossed through the wall and there's a big hole,
over here.
But the way he keeps listening to making him mad, that might very well happen.
Right? But
I don't know how
you would be covered. We wouldn't expect you to have to fix something that we break. So those are the type of protections that our group offers. That when you're coming in and you're dealing with us, you're dealing with professionals that are going to respect your property, and heaven forbid if something was to happen to something, you're covered, we're covered. We don't want to put somebody in a situation to where, like, if I trip and break my leg, well, I signed a release form, you're not liable.
Right.
And so did they. So it's like, and then that's the same thing on the client's end. You guys are signing documents that are allowing us to film you, record you, and be on the property. And so those are the legalities of it. So when we say, hey, like when people, like we're flattered about the help and we're thankful for the volunteer support, there's so much that we need to do, that we need to be careful about on our side, so we can make sure that everything, all the legalities are fine. And that's why we're not like a crew of 200 right now. So in the future, once we start growing bigger and we start getting to where we're needing more and more, it's gonna happen. But for now, it's just like we're thankful. Just send us your information. We're gonna keep it on file. But we just want to let you know that we're still rolling. We're still growing.
So, like, for me, like, worst case scenario, if Rodney's soul gets stolen by some, like, crazy spirit, I'll talk to my higher power about it. You won't be held responsible.
Exactly. And he already signed his soul on a piece of paper to TEPS.
Yeah, because Angela says, just sign your life over. And
okay.
Yeah, she said, sign your life over. And I said, sometimes your soul. Depending on the situation, it depends.
But no, I mean, like what that said. Any more questions, Megan? Anything happening?
Dwayne just made a comment. He said, I cleaned up the apartment recently, and when I was done, I told them I was very upset over the last 2 years. It sounded like the response from the spirit said, well, you made me mad.
Now, side note, I know you all, for Dwayne's house, the feeling, right?
Yeah.
this last investigation we were at, Dwayne's house was just weird. It was electrical. This thing, this box was just going off randomly.
Left and right, all the
Left
way
and
up
right.
to over 1,000.
Yeah, and for some reason, it was such a unique experience, especially for our first investigation. It was
Right.
like, you don't go to these places expecting to find stuff. You
Just
go
hoping.
there to hope to help solve a problem and narrow stuff down. But that's something that we were just going to discuss as a group. But we definitely want to go back to Dwayne's house, and I'm thinking Halloween special team.
I definitely wasn't touched by an angel. That's for sure.
But yeah, his house, like their laptop picked up stuff, and that's the thing is like, just like the audio experience, and then like the seeing something. I love how when Dwayne was explaining it, he was like, I see like there's like gremlin type things, and that's like so hard to like fathom. And then next thing you know, like we're in the dark filming stuff, and then there's something, and you think, oh, maybe it was an animal, but even though like we had the lights out, we were still able to see. It wasn't like pitch black where we
had like one eyeball or whatever was one little light.
Well, then too, as that being our first investigation, we went in with the base equipment that we had.
that anybody could pick up at Walmart, pretty much.
Right. So now,
What will we catch?
going back, we have upgraded the DVR system and the cameras. We have upgraded the SLS camera. We have upgraded to a nice thermal. The SB7 Spirit box.
Nah.
We have. So if the DVR system thing, okay. Some of the we had issues.
Mm-hmm.
After we got everything set up, we had 4 cameras.
Shut off.
We had perfect picture quality, and then out of nowhere, as we began investigating, 2 of the 4 DVR cameras completely went out. We replaced wiring. We did everything we could think of.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing would bring those 2 DVR cameras back on. So who knows
What other stuff will catch?
what we did not catch because those 2 DVR cameras went out.
And side note to that, bringing the equipment back home, no issues.
Right. And it was
So-
all tested prior to leaving
And
for the investigation.
but to your point, you wanted to go to a place that's haunted. I was like, I don't like using the term haunted loosely, but there's definitely some action going on.
Oh, yeah.
at Dwayne's house.
Multiple.
There's
I'd love to go back.
multiple spirits.
Let's see that that's of course I wasn't there for this one, so
No.
it's all just like
You'll
out there for me until I actually experience it myself. I'm
Right.
just like, this sounds really out there. So it's like great, but until I experience it for myself, I'm gonna be like, maybe.
No, as you should, and as everybody should when you watch this stuff on TV. It's the same scenario. Like
Right.
when we did our first investigation, I was just like, there is no freaking way this is really happening right now. Like we would leave the location and go outside for the smoke break, and it was just
Speaking
like,
of,
feel free to go in and out if you guys need to go get smoke. But
Yeah, what about when we entered the house and then you said we're back, and then you can
Yeah.
hear the lady spirit or whatever it
They're
was
back.
mock, and you said they're back.
I have these were clear, like in certain scenarios when you're doing EVP work and you get like where you can make stuff out. These were just like clear, and it wasn't like it was just off of one piece of equipment. The laptop picked it up. We all had audio recorders in our pockets picking up stuff.
The cameras.
I like the one that stuck with me, and again, it goes to how you hear it. Like I was asking it questions, nothingness questions. And I was like, "What are you?" It was like the devil.
Yeah, in
And
a
it was
very
just like-
light
A
whisper.
very light whisper. The devil.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
whatever the heck's going on at his house, it was off the hook.
They
Need
can
to be
lie.
investigated.
Yeah.
They can lie. You have to understand.
Yeah.
They can lie. They're
Oh
capable
yeah,
of,
they were capable
of
of
duplicity and lying. Just
Yeah.
So that could have been just nothing but a scare tactic.
Scare tactic,
To
exactly.
make you go.
What?
Right.
We're leaving.
Now,
It's
to-
the thing, we didn't even hear it
We didn't hear
until
it
we
until we
went
started
back
going
through the
Right.
EVP report.
she called me and she was like, I'm getting stuff left and right. Have you started
Yes.
listening to the stuff? And I was like, holy cow.
We got
Every,
so
like,
much.
3 to 5 minutes,
There
I
was
was marking
something
times,
going on.
timestamps down on.
Now-
Listen, you need to listen to this. Listen, you need to listen to this.
For the people at home too, like people that like I know that were watching the video, like knew, like when they saw like the Dwayne before, and then like the 4 weeks later, why after he moved out, Dwayne, when we did the reveal at his new place.
So huge difference.
Huge difference. People noticed that. People were like, whatever like was draining him in the beginning, like when we documented him in the beginning, and then 4 weeks later we saw him again as a completely different person. It was like
Noticeable difference.
there was such a noticeable difference in him because it was like it was sucking the life out of him.
Yes.
Exactly.
And then when he left, he abandoned ship. He left all his stuff. He went and got an apartment, and just like the life was like back in his face. Like he just like so much energy, like such a positive, happy energy coming from him.
See, that's
Often-
that's a dark energy, and there's several things that do that. There are several things that drain your energy like that.
Mhm.
I'm going to slow down.
Okay.
And the emotion,
Yeah.
the emotion that Dwayne had from hearing and us giving him confirmation
No, I felt so bad.
that he wasn't insane, that he wasn't crazy, because he's not the only one that's heard it.
That was the most rewarding part about it, was being able to you tell somebody something, like if you just took what he was saying and laid it out, an average person who didn't believe in anything would have been like, there's no way. And then for us to go to his place and start like you told us the couch, we're picking stuff up on the couch.
Yeah.
You told us you're seeing something walk down the stairs. Sure enough, we get something walking down the stairs, looking at our camera. And even to this last client's house, they told us the frying pan flew off the stove, and we're there, and there's something on the SLS camera, and it's interacting with the dang stove.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like when we could confirm that you're like somebody is experiencing this, and then we bring this equipment in and we experience the same thing. It's so rewarding, because it's like it's confirming someone's story.
Well, like with this last investigation, I got the sense that after we went through the walkthrough in the beginning, I told the client, I said, I don't feel like there's anything harmful here.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more of a protector, more of a I'm watching over you.
Mm-hmm. The bigger one.
Right, and then as I was turning on the SLS camera, before we even went lights out, and I'm turning on the SLS camera to kind of show the clients how our equipment works.
Which is so funny, because you turn it on to hopefully say, hey, here's how this works, and it picks something
it's
up
right there.
immediately.
Right,
It's like,
and it
Yeah.
picks something up in the
over the chair.
in the recliner. There's no one around, because they're standing behind me watching the
Yeah.
the screen of the tablet, and it picks up a stick figure sitting in the recliner.
But it also picked up Victor in one of those.
Yeah, because then I walk up
video.
and
Right.
and that's a common theme with me, team. If you see me, if I see a stick figure scenario, I am walking in front of the camera to see if it picks me up too.
Just to show.
Just to show, because if all of a sudden like it's glitching out over here and I walk up and it just picks me up, then I'm like, okay, glitch.
Right.
But then you got two.
But
of
if
them.
there's two, it's like, what on earth? And then mind you, they can come here to this house and turn that same camera on my recliners. Nothing.
Right. And then too, the whole confirmation thing, like it kind of, the client never mentioned to me anything about her grandfather, ever. From the time I began speaking with her before we investigated, she never mentioned anything about her grandfather. And the minute that I had pointed the SLS camera, technically I wasn't even pointing it. I was just holding it, turning it on, and initializing the program to show how it worked. And it just so happened to be pointing at this recliner, and it picked up a stick figure sitting in the recliner, and the client was like, oh, like got emotional instantaneously, and she said that was my grandpa's chair that he sat in all the time before he passed.
And again, the backstories that we didn't know about. We're just picking. What's the odds of us picking something up on that particular chair?
right then and there too.
Right, and then going back to the audio. Okay, so I feel like after that whole scenario with the recliner and the figure, when we were doing our audio check and everything, and when we were doing the reveal, okay, so, you know, we had them put the headphones on and hear what we caught.
And what we were thinking of, and that's what you guys got documented.
Right. Prior to, like, we let the client listen to the audio without even giving them any kind of idea of what we felt that we heard. They went into this blindly just listening. And one specific piece of audio, the client broke down into tears because she heard that it was her papa.
And to that point, it's again, at that point, we're not there to argue. We're there just to present. And even when those ears who heard that put two and two together, we're not going to say you're wrong. It's what you hear.
I wanted to say something real quick, guys. If you know, like when you send the invite out to watch the view, like the first time I watched y'all live, I got Megan sent me an invite. Well, it takes you to a different page. You can see and hear what's going on, but you can't interact. So if there's people out there that's kind of watching and seeing us, if you got an invite, you might want to slide your screen over so you can interact with us. That's what I wanted to say, because when I would try to interact with you all the first time you did it,
That's because you were watching it on a watch party that I started. I didn't realize that comments are separately on the watch party.
Exactly. And there was
So
like a
I'm
whole bunch of-
actually watching the comments on my watch party now as well. If anybody else opened a watch party or anything like that, we will not see any comments that you post on the watch party or anything like that.
But
so
you can share
definitely
it.
go to, share it. Whoever's hosting the watch party, share the comments.
Good.
Or you can go to our page and click on the actual link, and you'll be there, and we will see your comments, and we'll be able to see your questions or anything like that.
Well, that's right.
Yes, thank you for that.
Because I was trying to say, because we may have other people watching, but they might be interacting, because me and my Aunt Patty was watching.
Yeah, and
And we're
I'm
both
just
asking
their
questions,
comments,
but we were getting no answers.
Oh, Adam
So-
Hester, I just seen Adam Hester's comment.
Oh yes, I didn't really want to
Yeah.
share that.
Naughty, 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 Adam.
That is my man. Thank you very much.
so we're all looking, he's just going sexy Rodney.
All snap.
Actually, I was reading a comment from Brenda J. Taylor to Dwayne. It says, Dwayne Sisk, were they talking about when they investigated their property, and we'll be able to see that in video? It's actually already in video. It's our first video.
It's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. All you
Yes,
gotta-
go to our YouTube channel and
You-
subscribe.
you just
Please
need, all
subscribe.
you need to do is go to YouTube at the search top and just put it. Just search for TEPS. If you search for TEPS, you'll see you'll probably see the first video of the one that we're doing now, the investigation. But then it'll link you to our page that has all our videos, and there's a bunch of videos. But yeah, and we'll make it a point to link Dwayne's the Valley Creek investigation.
Yeah,
We'll relink that at the top for you all as well.
definitely.
So we'll get a post. So like us on Facebook so we can add it.
And Dwayne also put a new comment. He wanted to say, you all are awesome. From a client's point of view, it meant a lot to me that you were open-minded because my friends were getting ready to buy a straitjacket. LOL.
Well, no, and that's the thing. And like, even if we don't catch anything, we each have open ears and open hearts, and I think that's something that we all bring to the table. Is we'll listen to what you have to say.
And even if you don't catch something, there's a possibility that we might have an opportunity to go back and try again.
Exactly.
Yeah, these things don't turn on their own. I mean, like I think as paranormal investigators, right? That flip side of the coin, I think we were pretty lucky. 2 investigations in a row to have
So many
unique experiences, right?
I think. Are we gonna like later on advance to like where we see the investigation while the reveal and all that while we're live? Because like if we have like a screen where they can actually see it while we're talking to us.
Oh no,
And then maybe
very good point. So I think for some of us to do the live, like we could do Facebook Live. TikTok, we're not quite up there yet to go live on that.
Yeah.
I think we could set up a laptop, but I think the biggest thing is we would have to set up a cell phone, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, because we
She's
don't want to
talking
use the
filming
customer's
in real
internet.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no, I'm just like going over while we're.
So like showing the episode and saying,
this
giving commentary as the episode's
right
playing.
here where you see the ball going across the
She's
room.
talking about real time.
Real-time commentary. That is a killer idea. I actually, and we would, we could do a. There is a thing on Facebook that we can do that. That's called. It's a watch party, but we watch party the episode, and people can chime in and go through and do that, and then we can shout
Maybe
out.
we can look into doing that
Yeah.
with the next investigation or something like that.
Good ideas.
Yeah, we could definitely do that. I think that would be awesome because I like how other shows out there do that. Is as you're watching the pre-recorded episode, you actually see them saying, "Hey, this is when we read soon." What? I didn't do.
No, you're good.
Oh no,
You're
she's got
good.
another comment.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't have another comment. I just wanted to say it's already 11 o'clock. So before it's over, did we want to mention somebody's birthday?
Oh! By the way, it's Rodney's birthday.
today.
I'm 42
And so-
years old today. I'm 42 years old today.
We got him 6 pounds of
Oh,
Peter
my
Pan
God.
creamy peanut butter.
Peanut butter is the best.
So happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
Rodney!
Rodney.
You know, I'm hiding that peanut butter. You know, I know because of what, like I bought a jar of peanut butter and I have an infatuation with peanut butter. I don't do anything weird like hide in the closet.
Okay, that might be too high, Rodney. We don't
Rodney, when you said fascination, I was wondering. I was thinking, hey, there's kids watching.
I don't
Okay, you guys, fair to show.
HBO has not bought us out.
That's
I
for
go-
another episode. Rodney.
Yeah, it's not like I whisper sweet nothings to the jar of peanut butter while in the closet.
No,
So I'm just saying.
FYI, Rodney eats peanut butter in his cereal.
Oh my.
with
Lord.
ice cream.
No, the ice cream.
That's
Um,
awesome. That is
like-
awesome.
I can see that.
With some chocolate or whatever.
Oh,
He
yeah.
will smear it on a honey bun. Like he eats peanut butter.
Peanut butter is a
with
very versatile thing for him.
everything.
Very much.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised
the kids ate
he
my last
doesn't
jar,
put
so
it
that
in
kind
ramen
of hurt me.
noodles.
Yeah, so that should last you for a week.
Whew, just had to put it in.
Like
If the kids are watching this video, this is mine. This is my birthday present, so eat your heart out.
Hands off.
Hands off that one.
Yeah, it is his birthday.
Yeah. Look at
Um,
that.
That's been kind of crazy because, you know, at one point, it's kind of emotional for me because I didn't think I was going to make it.
Oh, well, look at
Yeah,
that,
so,
though.
yeah, so, like, a few years ago before I was going through life situations, you know, I did not see myself being here today.
Mhm.
So being 42, 7.5 years of sobriety, and a 6-pound jar of peanut butter.
And by the way, guys,
Mhm.
his divorce is about to be finalized.
Yeah.
That's
Signed and
Angela's
notarized
best
That's all
Tuesday
right.
on his birthday.
Although you know, the divorce is about to be finalized, I would like to say one thing that even though I might have disagreements with my soon-to-be ex-wife, in no way, shape, or form do I make fun of her or disrespect her or
No.
to do anything of that, because everybody deserves equal justice. So, you know,
Hey,
teach their own.
you know, after you get a couple of them, you won't even worry about that.
Oh,
This is your
I got
first
my
time,
couple right here. I
man.
got my couple right
After you go through a couple of them, it's going to be like ex-wife.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're contractually obligated to stay together now because
Yeah.
of TEPS.
Yeah, so you know,
Look.
I'm okay with life today. You know, I just recently had to leave a job due to just I don't feel like it was a good situation for me mentally, you know, or physically. So left there. I am working at Valero's. If you ever want to take a picture with me from the
Heck yeah.
Valero
Come
in
on
Vine
down.
Grove, by the way.
Yeah, don't get confused by me. He told me, hey, I work at the gas station. I was like, oh, sweet. You work right next door?
No, not the right one. I'm in Vine Grove.
Exactly. Wrong location.
Wrong location. But
Yeah, wrong location.
But no, yeah, definitely. It's good that you're here now. Look, you're part of a paranormal investigation group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got a cool job where I get to meet, you know, hundreds of different people daily.
And he's a tattoo artist. So
Oh yeah, side note in case anybody needs ink.
Off and on, 25 years, last
I've
25 years,
made-
so.
he alone has, with the help of you,
Mhm.
have made 3 of my dreams come true. 1, I got sober, and stayed that way. 2, I've learned how to tattoo. And 3, I've become a paranormal investigator, which is something I've wanted to do all my life.
Yeah, this is definitely awesome.
Making dreams come true.
Exactly.
Dwayne made a comment. I'm assuming it's directed towards you two.
See, with Dwayne, you never know what's going to come.
Right?
I'm sure
He
he's
said,
as bad as Adam.
I'm an internet minister, just saying. I can
Oh.
perform weddings.
I've already sold my soul to the devil once. I was just playing.
Hey, I'm an angel, okay?
So I have been touched by an angel.
Oh.
Okay, family chat.
Family show, Rodney.
Right.
No, I didn't mean. Where are you guys?
What are you gonna do when Disney buys us out? And then we have to be really good.
I wasn't. My mind wasn't even there, guys. It's just-
But no,
Well,
no,
we see who the
so-
sane one is here.
Right?
At the moment.
So, but no, I think with that said,
Yes.
we've definitely, as you can tell, we're real people. We
100%.
100% real people, and so for us to figure stuff out and try to do things with the paranormal, we're everyday people like you that's watching.
Yes.
Dwayne says he's sure that the spirit here would be a best man at his
I
house.
think it already is. Or I think it already is.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah.
But no, I think I guess the comment too. So Angela's the one that's reaching out and managing like the Facebook stuff that's coming in. So whenever you guys have comments or if you know people who need people, I think
Official case manager.
official case manager.
And by the way, people, just an FYI, as we've said, we are normal people. We do have jobs. If you reach out to us,
Normal is such an
And-
overrated.
I don't even know what normal is
I'm not
anymore.
sure normal. Normal
But
works.
if you reach out and I don't get back immediately, I do work Monday through Friday. In the evenings, I generally don't even get off work till 2:33 a.m. So I'm not going to reach back out to you at those late of hours.
You will get a message though. I
Yes,
promise.
I will reach
We'll
back
get a
out to
message.
you as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we all have like jobs, family, everything underneath the sun, and even on investigations too, we kind of have to like plan those strategically. So we try to like do what we can for the client,
While working around work schedules.
our schedules and stuff. And I only have so many vacation days left, team, for the rest of the year. So
I don't even know if I'm sure I have personal time off accrued and possibly some vacation time. I just really
I'm just saying,
don't even.
y'all need to get like you need to double check your vacation because we're not limited to just Kentucky. So if
Exactly.
somebody has something going on,
Indiana or somewhere in the neighboring
And you
state.
can fly us out to Nevada.
yes,
And we
Yeah.
will be there.
yeah. I mean,
I
like
want-
if you want us to
Yeah.
investigate your home in Nevada,
That's
by
right.
all means, if you could fly us out, we got you.
Right. Eventually, this GoFundMe account for our group, for us to be able to reach
Bobby Mackey's.
Bobby
Bobby
Mackey's,
Waverly.
Hills,
Masonic
the
Lodge
Masonic
here in town.
Lodge. That is probably the lowest price one we have gotten a quote on so far.
That's $250 for that one.
But I would eventually I have this wild, crazy dream that I want to go and investigate the Stanley Hotel.
I was just about to say that one.
Okay, so you can help us
That's
get
in
there.
Colorado.
Yeah.
That is in Colorado.
Now,
I eventually want to go.
now, and
Yes.
to that point too, to re-stress.
I want to
the
go
folks
to
at
Ed
home.
Lorraine's house.
Oh yes.
I want to go to her.
And, yeah.
We don't charge. We don't charge
No.
houses and people who need us. So like these are the places that have already like gotten notoriety, and they're like, hey, if you got to pay to play.
Yeah, that's
Well, I
what
don't
it
even
is.
know, but Lorraine, we
Yeah.
lost Lorraine Warren this year, I think, or was it last year?
I believe.
Yeah, and she's like,
She
she's
was
awesome.
awesome.
We have a book at home that actually our last client gave to me and Rodney.
By
It is
Ed
a
and
book written about demonology by Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, they
And,
were experts.
Yes, I am.
World-renowned experts on
Yes.
demonology.
Wow.
They were awesome.
So no wonder you're wanting to like dabble and learn and get your book smarts on.
Oh yes.
Dwayne said to go to DC. It's definitely crazy things there.
Oh, no.
Let's keep that out of it.
That's not going to happen
Oh.
anytime in the future.
Oh, that was a cheap shot.
Oh, but I do want to investigate the Winchester House. I want to go to
In
the
California?
Winchester House. Yes.
Northern California, up there in San Jose or something like that.
As long as you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get caught in a staircase.
I do want to see the Winchester House. It's
Yeah.
one of my dreams. I
No.
was like, well, that.
And the thing is like, and I guess for the folks at home and whoever come across this video, because we're gonna post it on our YouTube page. That's where we're hoping to kind of like get the word out, because with YouTube, if once you hit a certain fan base and you go past that certain threshold, the end all be all goal would be for us to eventually, because right now we're 40 plus hours work, and then whatever extra time outside of family and everything else,
Yeah.
this little bit's paranormal, and this is what we're dishing out. The thought process is once we start going further down this path, eventually we can cut back from the work, right? And then we can dedicate more time here. and that's when if YouTube and everything is contributing for our investigations, and if
Be
there's
able to
like
hit
some
those bigger places, more well-known places.
and I mean, like, also to the point out there, if there's like some multi-million-dollar person out there, millionaire, that's like, you want to get your name out there,
Exactly.
by all means. I mean, like, if you want to become our producer or whatever, what is it?
Investor?
Sponsor, yeah, sponsor us.
Donald Trump, if you're watching,
President
Right?
Trump.
Yeah.
please.
We will
You can
investigate
join
the
our
White House,
team.
right?
Sponsor
No, but yeah, I mean, like, if you never know, right? So if this comes across somebody who's interested in the paranormal but wants to not do the legwork, and you have a lot of money, please, we will all quit our jobs tomorrow.
And we will dedicate every waking moment. And I'll even bring my jar of peanut butter with me.
That could be his thing from now on.
Yes.
We all have like our own
I
style.
run into a ghostly spirit that likes peanut butter. Might
Very
draw
good
it out.
chance.
But yeah, yeah. So to that point, this is us doing our thing with what we have.
I just wanted to say, do you want to start wrapping it up? It's already 11:20, and
It's enchilada time,
Yes.
we need to go eat.
and for the folks at home, enchilada time's real because they made enchiladas.
Homemade enchiladas.
And homemade
Mexican.
guacamole.
And we'll do paranormal recipes.
Right?
Yes, recipes.
Recipes from the
That's the other YouTube channel, and
Yep.
hopefully on the Food Network called
Exactly.
Cooking with Teps.
or recipes from the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That would be
So
interesting.
every house we go to, we do an EVP session of cooking. What did you
What
used to
tips
eat?
we give?
We'll call it recipes from the dead, non-political version.
Right? All right. So with that said, so some last minute updates. So we do have a couple places that are pending. We have a place that's we're still waiting on the final thumbs up to. So that should be fun. Got a place in Indiana that is pending, and I think if Angela can get with Dwayne to schedule something that
The
we
next
can.
one. I look forward to meeting you, Dwayne.
Yes, because I think the Dwayne's house is for sure. I think we could do
Yeah.
that. That could probably be debuted for Halloween special.
So that'll be around October
So that
if
would be around
Dwayne's good
October
for
if
it.
Dwayne's.
October 31st around there.
Well, yeah. Oh, we would.
We
Or
would want to
something.
post
We would-
the episode on
On October
Halloween,
31st,
so it would be
so we would
before.
probably-
You know, we should do that live.
Well, I don't think we could do an investigation live yet. We don't have enough equipment. Maybe if we get some more funding, we can look into like doing a live event like some of the other well-known.
That should be a goal. We want to do a live investigation where all you viewers out there can see it
as it's happening.
Hey, at this rate though, so like us on all the. We're on everything. We're on Instagram. We're on
TikTok.
Twitter. We're on TikTok. We're on, the biggest important thing that we need followers
Subscribe
on is subscribing
on
to YouTube.
YouTube.
Please, once we hit that, then
We
yeah.
need 1 million of you on each video.
A million hits on each video.
Yeah.
And if it's 15 years from now and you're watching this video, then thank you. Catch up. We have like 15 years of footage to go through.
Exactly.
Yes.
But all right. Anything else? Any last words?
Thanks for the peanut butter.
Totally. All right. Well, thank you all for watching us, subscribing. If you missed this, it will be posted on Facebook later at auto post, and then I'm also going to download it. It'll be on our YouTube channel.
Yes, so anybody that missed it or you want to share it with your family, your friends.
They can watch their shenanigans.
Anybody that wants to reach out, please don't, if you have any thoughts that you have anything paranormal going on,
Yes.
feel free to hit us up. Don't think you're crazy.
Yeah. No. This is
Because
a no judgment zone.
If you think you're crazy, then I guess I'm equally crazy because I see and believe too. So don't.
We will listen to you.
Yes. Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. And to that point too, I also wanted to give a couple of other shout outs too. We've it's an unbelievable how many people who are in the paranormal field are willing to network, and it's unbelievable how actually big the paranormal network field is. We got this last request from Stan,
Yeah.
and he was able to connect us, so big shout out to you. I think it was a relay from Commonwealth Paranormal.
502.
502 Paranormal
Yes,
hit us
shout
up.
out to them.
West Virginia Paranormal actually
Yes.
hit us up too. And so I think really like people that are with like-minded thoughts and ideas, we got to look out for each other. So a big shout out to all of you that do this. And again, if you all are in the neighborhood of E-Town, hit us up.
Maybe maybe one day one of us, our team can get with their team and we can all do one big investigation.
Yeah,
somewhere
do a
one day.
multi-investigation with various different groups of those. It's not a competition, folks. We want to join you. Join us.
It's all about answers. And
Exactly.
then to the person that's at home, or if you got a family member that swears up and down that their place is haunted and you don't believe them, send us out.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Yes.
We'll do whatever we can, even if we need to go out multiple times.
Yes, because there's no guarantee that we're going to catch something
We don't guarantee
every
that.
single time.
No.
Yeah, that's
So
nothing
far,
but guarantee.
we happen to be 2 for 2, but there's no guarantee.
But that's just luck.
That's yeah. It's just
Beginner's
how-
luck.
Yeah. So, with that said, thank you all for your support, your time, your likes. Everybody who's watching out there, we appreciate you so much. And we hope that you have a lovely night. You stay safe out there. And we look forward to the next episode of Paranormal Investigations and the next episode of TEPS Underground.
Thank you and
Thank
good
you all.
night.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.